All right. Welcome in, folks. We're just at the top of the hour here, 2:00 on the East Coast, 11 out west. I'm joined here by Maggie Gray from Shield Capital. We'll give folks a couple minutes to start trickling in here. I know that we are competing with the event of the century, the millennia, the solar eclipse. I'm not sure, Maggie, when the last one was, but we may have chosen just before peak eclipse here on the East Coast. But hopefully this hackathon is an even bigger draw.
Hopefully.
Awesome. So Maggie, you are joining us from where today?
Yeah, I'm currently calling in from San Francisco. I'm on the investment team at an early stage venture fund called Shield Capital. So unfortunately, we'll not get the total eclipse here. I think we only get a 40% eclipse or something.
40%. It's not even worth going outside. We're just going to keep rolling through with the stream.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get folks out of here on time to be able to go and enjoy whatever amount of eclipse is there. So big news last week, Maggie, you guys announced this defense hackathon between Stanford, between San Francisco. There have been a number of these kind of in the last couple of months, last couple of weeks there seems to be a lot more energy around the space. But tell us, like, why did you and why did Shield Capital decide that this was the time to do one of these and to do it in San Francisco?
Yeah, for sure. So, I guess first I can say a little bit about Shield Capital. So like I said, we're an early stage venture fund. We specifically invest at companies that we view as being at the intersection of national security and commercial market. So to us, that means, we're not investing in weapons companies necessarily, but looking for companies like SpaceX or the next Palantir, Scale AI, Databricks that have really strong commercial businesses, non-government businesses, as well as tremendous impact on national security, on the intelligence community, on the U.S. military. So we wanted to host this hackathon in part to bring together people both who have had a lot of national security exposure. So, we're getting problem sets curated by government sponsors in the intelligence community and in the military. We want to bring them together with people who maybe don't have a lot of exposure to national security problem sets, but do have a lot of exposure to the technology that is, cutting edge, coming out of research labs, coming out of large tech companies, and bring them together to see if we can combine these two skill sets to make a real difference in our country. I think we see ourselves as at a pretty critical juncture in the world and the geopolitical landscape as we move from counterterrorism, the war on terror, where we were not fighting against peer adversaries when it came to technology, moving towards a world in which we're seeing more great power competition, in which a conflict with a near peer adversary who has some real technology and has real budget and real scientists and real engineers is becoming, more likely on the horizon. So we wanted to host this in San Francisco, which is, of course, one of the hubs of startups, technology, artificial intelligence, to get people who care about their country, who care about democracy, the United States, really thinking about these problem sets and seeing how they can apply technology to these problem sets. So that's what we're hoping to do, for the technical community, get them involved in national security. And then also, like I said, we are bringing some national security stakeholders to this event as well. For them, I'd say there's our two goals. A, we're really trying to help expose some of the people, in DC or elsewhere who spend all day thinking about the problems to new ways of thinking and to different ways of applying technology to these problems, to see if, somebody with a fresh eye, maybe who has spent a lot of time, optimizing ads or something at Facebook, to some of that technology maybe apply to some of these other problem sets. And B, trying to connect some of these national security stakeholders to talent, to people who maybe one day will come work for their organizations or develop something really powerful for them.
It's super cool. And it's a little bit different than what you typically see in a hackathon. You're bringing together both students and professionals to work together. So there's a networking component to this as well. I think about some of the different fellowships and the pathways that have been stood up in the federal government over the last decade or two, things like the U.S. Digital Service or the Defense Digital Service, the Presidential Innovation Fellows, all of these programs meant to get folks who might be in industry kind of a taste of the mission to see what that's like. And so few of them after that decide, yeah, I want to go back to building fill in the blank consumer tech or whatnot. It's not a normative judgment. Those are valuable industries as well. But I think once you kind of understand what some of these mission sets are all about and kind of what is at stake, it's really compelling. So I think it's amazing that you guys are bringing this together. Talk us through. So the date it's coming up fast. You're about 4 weeks out. Take us through the weekend, Maggie. What is it going to look like? What are the different components to the hackathon?
Yeah, definitely. So this hackathon, I would say, really came together when we were talking with some folks at Stanford at their defense tech club that was recently stood up in the business school. They're really trying to get more Stanford undergrads and Stanford grad students involved in the world of national security technology. And we were saying, well, what better way to do this than a hackathon? And can we do part of it at Stanford to really keep in touch with that student community? So we're starting May 3rd with a kickoff event at Stanford campus. This is going to be a great chance for hackers to actually meet some of the problem sponsors for the first time. Maybe ask them questions before we start digging into the world of hacking. It'll be a chance for people to maybe meet their team in person and form teams if they don't come in with one. Get to know each other in kind of a casual setting before we launch right into coding. Then May 4th and 5th, we're going to be up in San Francisco. We want to get a taste of campus life and then a taste of SF city life. It's going to be 24 hours of hacking. The hackathon is going to kick off midday and continue until the middle of the next day. People will be welcome to kind of stay over in Shack 15, which is the spot, the top level of the Ferry building where we're hosting this. Like I said, there we're going to have students, we'll have maybe some indie hackers, people who are currently, software engineers or just like to hack in their free time, hoping to have a mix of all different age ranges. We're also going to have mentors there. So these are going to be some of the government stakeholders, as well as some folks who actually work in national security technology industry. So we're co-sponsoring this with Vannevar Labs and with Anduril, so two companies that are actively, applying cutting edge technology to national security problem sets. We're going to have some people from there involved to help, guide hackers through this problem of building for national security. We're going to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner on May 4th, and then there will also be lunch provided on May 5th. There'll be snacks provided throughout, of course, and then midday on May 5th, we're going to have judging. Again, the panel of judges will be a mix of some of the government problem suppliers, startup tech operators, and then also some investors. Like I said, we're also co-sponsoring with Founders Fund and In-Q-Tel along with Shield Capital. So it should be a great group of people. And we're going to, kick off the event with some remarks from some of the stakeholders in government, end the event with some investors and startups and government folks, hopefully to give people, real sense of why these problem sets matter and what we're looking for in the future.
It's a powerhouse lineup. You guys have, so Anduril and Vannevar are two of the largest kind of venture-backed defense tech companies. Founders Fund, Shield. I mean, you guys have, this is an A-team roster. Lots of people are going to want to be involved, right? And in our community, in defense tech jobs and what we're building now with National Interest Talent Network, a lot of folks are non-technical. A lot of folks might just be super interested in the mission or transitioning from the military and looking for their next roles or coming, they've gone back to industry, but they kind of miss this. Are those folks welcome as well, Maggie? How do you want them to participate, or is this not necessarily the event for non-technical folks?
Yeah, so I think the way we're thinking about it is we want everybody to come, especially to that first kickoff event on Stanford campus. That will be open to all. So we're hoping to have hackers. We're going to have investors, startup folks, students, some of the people from Stanford, all there mingling, meeting each other. And then I think we're keeping the core hackathon mostly confined to people who are actively hacking, as well as some of the judges and mentors and sponsors. So, please do reach out if you're interested in being a mentor. And And then, of course, all of the problem projects that hackers work on throughout the weekend will be open sourced at the end. We're going to make announcements about the winners. So, of course, anybody who is interested in some of the outcomes that come out of this should certainly reach out to any of the project developers that they're particularly interested in at the end of the hackathon.
Very cool. How if people want to get involved, do they need to show up with a team? Should people be forming teams beforehand, or can they do that when they get to the event on Friday?
Yeah. So we encourage everybody to sign up, whether or not you're signing up with a team. About a week before the event, we're going to put everybody into a Discord channel together who is coming to it. We're hoping that people will be able to form teams via Discord, or showing up on Friday and meeting some people in person and joining a team. So you do not need a team to apply. We want as many people involved in this as possible, and hope maybe that you can meet your team there, either in person or on the Discord channel.
Awesome. So whether you're coming with a group of friends or whether nobody, there's room for you. Just get involved, sign up, and you'll find a way to make it work. What about the problem sets?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where are the problem sets coming from, and when are those going to be public?
Yeah, absolutely. So the problem sets are coming from some, real operators, stakeholders within the Department of Defense and the intelligence community, from some of the combatant commands, and also some of these kind of tech organizations within the Department of Defense. They're coming from, real technical people who have been thinking about these problems for a long time and are excited to see what a new group of people comes up with, when facing these problems afresh. They're going to be released about a week before the event, also on that same Discord channel, to give people some time, think about potential approaches before showing up to the hackathon. And then, like I said, the problem sponsors, many of them will be there in person at the hackathon, at the kickoff event, and then throughout the hackathon as mentors and judges, so that you can talk to them, really pick their brain, understand what's worked in the past, what hasn't worked, and why these problems are important.
Very cool. So the sponsors will actually be on site as well. So direct access.
Some of them, yes.
Some of them will. Direct access to the folks who are doing the mission. Very cool.
Yeah.
What, Maggie, what do you all see coming out the other side of this? What is, are these teams competing? Well, there's some prizes, right? What are they competing for? And how do you hope to see folks engaged after the fact?
Yeah. So there will be prizes for the top 3 teams, which will be, exciting. I think the way that we see this, we understand this is 24 hours worth of hacking. So you're probably, I would be, very impressed if somebody actually develops a system that could be, adopted tomorrow by the Department of Defense. But I think what we're hoping is, maybe some teams get inspired by a problem set. They work on a project, they develop an MVP over the hackathon. Maybe they talk to some of these government sponsors or government stakeholders, and get the ideas rolling, and maybe they launch this into a longer term project in whatever form that might take. Maybe some people meet somebody at Anduril or Vannevar or some other startups who participate, and they find a job for themselves, or they just sign up for defense tech jobs at the end of all this and realize that this is a space they really care about and are interested in and want to apply their talents to. But overall, I think we're hoping that people come away with a better sense of the kinds of problems facing the Department of Defense and intelligence community, the kinds of problems that are critical to national security, and some new connections between those communities that could blossom in a number of ways.
That's great. Connectivity. We've talked about this a little bit before. The national security, the defense network is really strong, but it also is fairly insular. And so folks who have served or worn the uniform or worked in government tend to know each other really well. But I think more events like this as on-ramps to folks who might be kind of defense curious or just interested in learning what the hype is about right now are a fantastic way to get involved, to meet some people, and to do some work on some interesting problems that can really matter. One other question on the problem sets that I realized we didn't cover. Software focused, hardware focused, a little bit of both. How are y'all thinking about that?
Yeah, so I would say the problem sets will primarily be software focused. They're falling into kind of 4 main categories, which are digital drone resilience, contested logistics, early warning of crisis, crisis slash crisis. Oh my gosh, sorry, my words are leaving me. Early warning of crisis slash conflict, and connecting sensors from orbit to ocean floor. So all of these have some hardware component to them. We will not be providing resources for hardware, but we certainly welcome others who wish to bring hardware themselves, whether people want to bring drones or sensors to test with themselves. But we're thinking about this as being more kind of software forward versus hardware forward.
Very cool. What do you want this to be known for, Maggie? As folks leave the event and look back on it, what do you all hope that what's the brand of the San Francisco Hackathon?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I hope people meet some really smart, talented, interested people, whether that's government folks meeting some of the best AI hackers in San Francisco, or some of the best AI hackers in San Francisco meeting some of these high up technology leaders within the government. I think that's the first thing I want it to be known for, is like people met some interesting, relevant, talented people. Two, I think a lot of hackathons, people come out with fun, interesting projects, but they don't necessarily lead to anything. Like, we have an AI that can play a video game or something like that, which is awesome. But I hope people come out of this saying, I worked on a problem that really matters. I worked on a problem that is relevant to the future of democracy in the United States and its allies. That came from a problem sponsor who has lived this problem and cares deeply about this problem. So I hope that people see this as a hackathon that really matters, both from a technology standpoint and the importance of these problem sets that we're working to bring to folks.
Absolutely. We'll wrap here in a minute. I'm realizing, so of the partners we talked about, Founders Fund and Shield, we didn't mention In-Q-Tel, I don't think. And I wanted to just give you a minute to talk about In-Q-Tel and kind of the unique perspective they bring to this as a partner as well. Because I think folks, especially folks who might not be in the community, may not have heard of them. And it's a pretty unique brand.
Yeah, absolutely. In-Q-Tel is a super cool organization. So In-Q-Tel is the venture arm of the U.S. intelligence community. So think those three-letter agencies like the CIA, NSA, NGA, others. They've been around since the 90s. They're a nonprofit, and they make investments in a number of companies, and then actually help some of those companies then sell into the U.S. intelligence community through something they call their work programs. So one of these agencies might come to In-Q-Tel and say, we care a lot about fileless exploits, which is kind of cyber attack, and so In-Q-Tel goes and tries to find some companies that are doing relevant, interesting work in fileless exploit protection, and then might actually be able to connect that company to this government end user. I think what we're hoping is that they will provide some of this intelligence community mindset to this. I think Shield, our partners, have a lot of connectivity to the Defense Innovation Unit, to the Department of Defense, which of course also has ties to the intelligence community, but In-Q-Tel are the real subject matter experts when it comes to the intelligence community in the ways that technology can help the United States and its allies, better understand the way that the world is working and track our adversaries. Yeah,
totally. Powerhouse team, both sides, defense, intelligence. If you're interested in national security, and especially if you're interested in national security and have any kind of proclivities for software, this is the place to be. Maggie, how can folks get involved? How can they sign up?
Yeah, so we have a Partyful link to RSVP or to register. Again, we're really calling all technical folks, even if you have absolutely no background in national security. If you are just a little bit curious about learning more about these problem sets, please sign up. We're looking for students, we're looking for developers, kind of all ages, anybody looking to get involved. And then any Stanford students who are particularly interested in this, check out the Stanford Defense Tech Club. Called Bryce Mitchell. He is kind of the lead for that club on Stanford campus. I think that's really what we're looking for. And I think the Partyful link, the registration link, it's on my LinkedIn, it's on my Twitter, I'm sure it's on Noah's, it's been shared, or reach out to me directly if you are not able to find it. I will send it your way.
We'll drop it in the comments for this live stream as well. It's lots of organizations to get involved with. Check it out, RSVP. If you can't make it, but you're still interested, go ahead and sign up for defense tech jobs and what we're doing. There's lots of opportunities to get involved in this industry. There's lots of great companies building meaningful solutions to serious problems, pretty much no matter where you are in the country. So even if you can't hop on a plane and get to San Francisco in a couple of weeks' time, go ahead and sign up, and we'll make sure that as events and things are happening in your area, that we do what we can to make sure you know about it. With that, I think we are just about going to wrap. Maggie, any last words for folks ahead of the early May?
Looking forward to seeing everybody in San Francisco, May 3rd through 5th, Stanford campus and San Francisco Shack 15 in the Ferry Building. Excited to meet you all. And please reach out with any questions, comments, anything at all. I'm always open to chat with some interesting people who care about this space.
Awesome. Thank you so much for making the time, Maggie. Thanks for being with us. Go enjoy the eclipse. Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much, Noah. Have a good one.
Okay.